Oh my gosh, we finally made it to the big 600 subscribers. I just want to come out here and thank you for 600 subscribers because it really means a lot to me. The fact that this channel keeps growing is really good, and I hope we get the big 1,000 subscribers some point in this year. Without wasting any more time, let's talk about why you are all here watching this. So today we are going to be diving into the origin stories of Anne of Green Gables. No, not the real life movie. Stuff that. Nor the Little Fox version, since I literally made a video on that. And I'm also going to be diving right into Anne of Green Gables. So, this movie, Anne of Green Gables, is about a girl named Anne. You probably know her as red-headed Anne Shirley, who gets sent to Ground Orphanage after she got kicked out of the house for destroying it like a brat. I'll be diving into her bratty moves after I've explained what the movie's about. She gets sent to Ground Orphanage, where she gets adopted by an elderly couple, Matthew and Marilla, after she escapes to Green Gables, where they live. After getting face-to-face with Madame Poubelle, who names their person, or who named their kid Madame Poubelle? Whoever did that must be out of their brains right now. Who names their kid Poubelle? That's just a horrible name. Anne of Green Gables gets kicked out of Ground Orphanage, sent to Green Gables, a better place for her and herself, and she kidnaps a squirrel who she tortures the whole movie. She acts like a brat somehow, and her wild storytelling antics land her in big trouble as she escapes to Green Gables and becomes a drama queen. It's supposed to be the origin story of Anne of Green Gables. Keep in mind, there's a whole animated series on this girl. Yes, there's a whole animated series on this girl, but ain't nobody got time for that. The series is about Anne of Green Gables. Yup, you guessed it. Animated Anne of Green Gables. Yup, they turned a folktale into a cartoon. It's not dumb, but this aired on PBS, aka the same company responsible for bringing us Daniel Tiger, Royal Dandy, and DW. Anne of Green Gables also lives in Canada, aka the same nationality responsible for Caillou.
And you're not. Hey, carrots! How dare you! And Shirley.
This is how I can prove how much of a brat Anne of Green Gables is. Anne of Green Gables is a violent, bad-tempered, spoiled brat who needs to learn the lessons of consequences. To calm down and not be more aggressive over her, I was being aggressive just so the audience can be excited by the movie review. Anne of Green Gables is a brat. She's violent towards Gilbert Blythe. She also bullies Mrs. Lynde, which was also seen in this movie. She's a brat who ultimately gets what she wants without any consequences, doesn't know much herself because she's an orphan. But I still blame her the way she acts, as she acts very rude, impolite, and ill-mannered to Mrs. Lynde. Even though Mrs. Lynde bullied her first, like the viewers might be arguing, which I respect their opinion. But I think Anne of Green Gables still had no right to speak to Mrs. Lynde like that. After all, Mrs. Lynde was a guest in their house and a neighbour. Sure, she might have been an old gossip, but do we really have to have Anne of Green Gables acting like she's a brat who must get away with everything? Luckily, I also got one of my friends, the Britain's youngest comedian, shout out to him by the way, for covering the Anne of Green Gables clip where she cracks a slate onto Gilbert's head, so stay tuned for that. Also, please make sure to subscribe because it really helps the channel a lot. And I just want to say more, is that Anne of Green Gables isn't the best when it comes to being polite. I sure am going to make her trend on this channel, and I hope Anne of Green Gables will probably be the new cartoon brat that's trending. I just want to say that if the video gets super trendy, then I'll be happy if this video gets super trendy. And trust me, it will once you hear this girl's reputation. Anne of Green Gables might not be as bad as Norman and Thomas Daly, but trust me, I'm going to compare some scenes in the movie to other scenes of other shows I've talked about, including Anne of Green Gables bullying Mrs. Lynde compared to a few other brats being rude to people. So stay tuned for those comparisons too. Anne of Green Gables isn't good, and in fact, this girl, this red-headed Shirley girl, who many people call Carrot, actually wants her name without an E, but she always gets what she deserves whenever they spell her name without one. The first folktale brat ever to be roasted on PBS Kids, worse than Lila Loops and many other PBS brats. Anne of Green Gables is a spoiled brat, and well, You're about to see why once you realize how disrespectful this girl treats people in this movie. So, I just want to say thank you for 600 subscribers. It really means a lot to me because this channel is going to keep growing with this milestone. And without wasting any more time, let's dive right into the movie. Hey everyone, before I do the 600 subscriber special, please make sure to subscribe because it really helps the channel out a lot. Without wasting any more time, let's get straight in. The movie begins with Anna Green Gables being a dreamer in the meadow. Because I guess it's the olden days, and a phone won't become a thing until 1973. They're cell phones. But do I have time to ask when smartphones were made? Let's just carry on. She climbs aboard a carriage while lots of servants are carrying her while she imagines being a princess. Let's hope she doesn't turn into the little princess, otherwise this girl and little princess should have a battle between who's the worst cartoon brat. Everyone starts cheering at her, which is the dumbest sport of cheering at a brat, which is like giving a robber flowers because they stole from a bank. Just then, Anne is about to admire the beauties around her, which sounds innocent, until you realize she doesn't say thank you when she gets out of the carriage. We then see, wait a minute, why does that fairy look like Tinkerbell? Well, I'm gonna say a better word than whatever. Let's just carry on. Anna Green Gables then gets attacked by some ugly ogres. Surprise, surprise, Mrs. Hammond is forcing her to look after the babies that she thought were ogres. She then wakes Anne up from her dream and then forces Anne to do something she doesn't want to do. Like, we've all had to do something we don't want to do. Even horrid Henry had to get forced to go to a wedding when he didn't want to. But what Mrs. Hammond fails to realize is that the babies will be rude to Anne, as they decide to aggressively push her into the tub. And then Anne has to change the smell of their nappies. And the only way to fix this mess is to imagine smelling flowers. She then imagines dancing with a handsome prince. But the only prince Anne could dance with is Prince Wednesday. At least the little princess is not dancing with Prince Wednesday. She then imagines skiing on the ice and almost destroys the house in the process. What a brat. And you won't believe what Mrs. Hammond calls her. Well, you absolutely not believe it. It's something that most cartoon brats never get called. It's something that only a cartoon brat analyzer would call them. Mrs. Hammond called Anne a brat. Yes, watch for yourselves.
And Shirley, you sloppy brat. If I catch you fooling around anymore, she'll be on your
Mrs. Hammond gives Anne what she doesn't deserve by kicking her out of the house. I mean, Anne deserved to be kicked out of the house. But what did happen is that she got physically kicked out of the house and the physical part was undeserved. She then starts crying like a little brat, because crying fixes everything. But gabbing about brats, crying is okay. You're insulting people. My bad. Disclaimer, crying is okay. It's okay to feel sad when something doesn't work. But it's not okay to throw a tantrum. That joke was just satire. Sorry. And then gets kicked out of the house and gets called again. Thank you for saying that, Mrs. Hammond. You earn a trip to the movies. And a trip to Spain and France. And then goes over to the boat, where she starts falling into oblivion. And while being oblivious isn't idiotical, I still think Anne was being pretty much of an idiot as the boat suddenly leaks while she's lying in it. The men were afraid, scolding Mrs. Fall into oblivion as they throw her books at her and rip them. Then some man takes her to Ground Orphanage, not the right place for her. And when I say not the right place for her, you'll see why. Ground Orphanage is a scary place ran by Madame Poubelle, who only likes herself and only bullies people and is a cruel orphan lady. She tries to kidnap Anne, and Ground Orphanage is a haunted house where lots of servants work. I mean, just look at all these servants, and you'll feel like you need to be sorry for them. True. Hashtag justice for that kid. If you think that that boy named Charlie, as Madame Poubelle claims he is called, deserves better than to work for her. Madame Poubelle, the ugly person, comes along. And then we see the two men are starting to chase a squirrel. And you won't believe what Madame Poubelle calls them. Yup, she says everyone is brats, which is basically an insult to every single cartoon brat.
We have a problem with squirrels. There's no room for her, officer.
The county doesn't care if there's no room, Madame Poubelle. You have to take her.
But madam, we have no bed for her.
The building is overrun with squirrels. I feed 200 brats, and the county only pays for a measly 50.
Anne claims that she needs a family, but Madame Poubelle tells her that she must shut up, which is basically the rude thing you can say to someone. They then start gossiping about Charlie, like the old gossip Madame Poubelle is. Anne doesn't feel concerned for Charlie, but anyways, Anne should. And then Mavis gets slapped in the mouth by Madame Poubelle. She then spills all the papers, which was an accident, so it's okay. Unlike how Norman's crimes are accidents, which doesn't matter. Some of them aren't even accidents, like that Sky Lantern crime. And when Norman doesn't get punished, well, maybe let's just carry on doing Anne. After all, this isn't really a Norman video. Anne claims that her parents were called Walter and Bertha Shirley, but she said it would be a disgrace to have a father named...
Hezekiah.
Mavis's weak reaction is just, right. And I'm Christian, so I'm allowed to say Anne was being bratty. But then again, saying that it would be a disgrace to have a father named Hezekiah is just, well, it's just only light blaspheming, in the Christian world, at least. I mean, some people watching have different religions. Like, one of the viewers has a different religion, and I respect people's religions. And then says that she read in a book once the rose could be as sweet as any other name from someone like Anne, and, well, Mavis just has an accident and then ends up almost hurting Anne in the process, which isn't okay this time. Like, Mavis, why can't you stop being so clumsy? Next, everyone's about to have silent time, which sounds innocent enough. Until we realize that Madame Poubelle calls the brats again.
Roasted on a spit.
Her reaction is, brats like you should be roasted on a stick. Like, seriously? Are you trying to insult every cartoon brat by saying that they're brats? What she does next is very shockingly unbelievable, as she grabs every book and tries to throw them into the fire. Mostly like how Norman Price acts out all the time. Like, this is even worse than Norman Price. All the children freak out while Mavis, the good person of the day, decides to save the day and then take the book out. And then reads a book about her aunt, Lucy LaRue.
Fair weather family. And you pathetic excuse for a prison boy. Don't you understand, you slothful, steaming insanity? We're crazy.
Wow, she's that type of person that she bullies inanimate objects. Wow, we are living in a universe where you can bully inanimate objects by kicking them. She then says that David, whoever that is, gambled it all, and calls David a fool, which, it's one of the most very mean insults you can say to someone. I don't even want to use that word. Anne then comes out of her bed and then says that she was reading a book about Lucy LaRue, while Madame Poubelle claims that Lucy LaRue was the wealthiest woman in Montreal.
Did you say LaRue?
My mother's brother's wife was Lucille LaRue.
The Lucy LaRue, the wealthiest woman in Montreal.
She then claimed that Lucy LaRue was like a mother to her. Anne says their parents were tragically lost at sea, and that's how they died when she was an infant. Tragic, but true. But if you're sad, then please think of something else. Anne's bratty behaviour, or Norman's criminal behaviour. Norman's criminal behaviour is letting that Sky Lantern go and hitting the whale using the boat. Anne has a full-on mental breakdown on how the aunt LaRue, aka Lucy LaRue, Rapunzeled her by putting her in a tower and then died before confessing. One of the most harsh stories I've ever read. She wishes to leave the orphanage and be adopted by a really, really nice couple. I don't like Anne, but she doesn't deserve to be at this orphanage. And I'm sorry, Anne. Talking to your reflection in the mirror makes you like Mr. Chatterbox and Little Miss Chatterbox. But then again, it is okay if my viewers like talking to their reflection in the mirror. I respect that. But who respects Anne out of all people? Mavis then wakes her up after the squirrel just almost knocked a man out with the nut that it was carrying. I'm guessing it's either an acorn or anything a squirrel can eat. Anne gets sent to Green Gables. Oh, finally we're at the scene where she gets sent to Green Gables by an elderly couple. Well, Madame Poubelle is cross the next morning and is trying to kidnap her by throwing things and throwing a massive tantrum like a big baby. In other words, you could call a big baby an adult brat. I mean, Henry's parents could be the examples. Meanwhile, Anne is torturing her squirrel that she took from the orphanage by trying to make it seasick. Wow, Anne isn't just called at people, but she's also called at animals. I've heard this before. I'm going to compare this scene to one scene from another show I've talked about, First Comparison. Any of you remember the most infamous episode of Thomas Daly, well, one of them, Love Your Pets, where he tortures his hamster and makes it dizzy. Except that Thomas did it because he liked his hamster, which is like saying I punched someone, or pinched someone, or called someone a brat because I liked them. So I guess it's a tie, but then again Anne wins because imagine a squirrel feeling seasick. This is basically the same thing. They then arrive at the station, while Anne isn't responsible to look after her so-called pet squirrel. I mean, she doesn't even have a pet, but the squirrel always acts like a pet. Anne isn't responsible as she lets the squirrel get blasted in the face with the train smoke. We then get the scene where Matthew Cuthbert arrives at Green Gables. Finally, Matthew Cuthbert comes along.
Has the 11:30 come through?
Keep in mind, Matthew was expecting a boy to come, but then Anne came in instead. She then asks Matthew if he's Mr. Matthew Cuthbert. He then says, yes, I am Mr. Matthew Cuthbert. She then claims if Matthew didn't come for her, then she would have to sleep in a wild cherry tree, because she loved to sleep in a wild cherry tree. What a drama queen, Anne, and I've heard she's like this in the real folktale. She then climbs aboard the horse, and just like Thomas Daly, Anne makes the squirrel dizzy as the horse ends up pulling the squirrel very fast. But then again, it wasn't really Anne's fault as the squirrel was basically the victim of this movie. Out of all this torture, you gotta say, justice for the squirrel, if you think that Anne of Green Gables and the horse should stop torturing the squirrel. But I don't think a horse counts as a brat. Who could even put an animal on the brat tier list? Well, animal humans, like Peppa Pig, Little Brown Bear, Daniel Tiger. But real animals in cartoons like a bird or horse don't count. Mrs. Lynde gets startled, and I see where this is going when we have a glimpse of Mrs. Lynde. The squirrel falls into a bush and ends up getting sick. And just like at the start of this movie, Anne is being a dreamer again, because once again, a phone would only become a thing soon. Matthew almost faints in the process while Anne of Green Gables looks at what's in the clouds. She then sees some Disney-looking castle, but this movie's not really made for Disney, but I guess they wish they were because every other fairy tale movie, like Snow White and all the others are. They climb back on the horse and cart while they arrive at Marilla's house. Mrs. Lynde is a guest there, and you'd think that Anne would be polite to her. Well, wait and see for yourself. After Marilla claims that Anne shouldn't have been there, and they should have asked for a boy. I wouldn't say they're being pretty sexist, like Humphrey is, and maybe even Daniel Tiger to Miss Elena. Uh-oh, now we got a glimpse of Mrs. Lynde. Seriously, you think that Anne would just be polite to her? Nope.
You don't want me?
Oh, brother. They want a boy?
Hush up! This is the most tragical thing that has ever happened to me.
Anne, stop exaggerating. I mean, who's surprised that Anne has been a drama queen?
You send her back. That's a consideration. What is there to consider? Lawful heart. Did anyone ever see such freckles? She's terribly skinny and homely, Marilla. And her hair is as red.
Ha ha ha, Anne. But then again, isn't it cool to make fun of her? Well, it's just a cartoon. Comment down below if you think she deserves it. But then again, this isn't the perfect thing as it's going to blow her into a full-blown...
Carrots!
You old windbag! How dare you call me skinny and homely! You're rude!
I was too late before I could say fit.
Unfeeling woman, and I hate you!
The insults just keep getting badder and badder and worse and worse and worse. I mean, telling an old lady she's an old windbag is just disrespectful. And telling her that you hate her is just evil and sinister. I mean, seriously, Anne, why can't you just learn some manners? Not even one cartoon rat would ever dare to disrespect an elder. Sure, Royce Benoist did that in one episode, but at least the insults weren't too bad, and all he said was, hey, gotta go, bye, to Mr. Wisely. That's nothing against what this girl is doing. She might be even worse than the little princess. Spud from Bob the Builder. Royce Benoist. I don't know if she's worse than Royce Benoist, it's probably a tie, but then again, Royce Benoist has done some unforgivable stuff. But she could be just a bit worse. She's worse than Daniel Tiger, Little Brown Bear. And even Caillou, yes, that same kid who's been pinching his sister Rosie, throwing a tantrum over a massive circus and pushing her out of his room, the 3 bad things he's done, aren't anything against this. Now, it's time for the comparisons. You probably remember the infamous episode, Caillou's Crossword. In this episode, Caillou calls Clementine stupid and bullies her. But seriously, well, Caillou was just making fun of her. Calling someone stupid isn't as bad as telling someone you hate them. Now let's compare this to the episode Little Brown Bear argues with his mommy, where he bullies his mom and calls her horrible. But honestly, just calling your mom horrible isn't enough to beat this spoiled brat. Now lastly, let's compare this to the episode of Fireman Sam called Bus Troubles, where Norman claims that Lily is a little crybaby.
Why do I always get stuck with the little crybaby?
Don't be rude, Norman. Finally, let's compare Thomas Daly used polite language to this. The kids were bad, Thomas called his friend stupid, and Anne bullied an old lady. But Anne wins again. Now let's finally compare this to the one where Voice Boys insults his mom in public in the park. Anne wins. So basically, Anne is the worst brat ever when it comes to the insults. Yeah, cartoon brats have been aggressive. I mean, Daniel Tiger is also aggressive, like when he made his sister cry because he got mad that she broke his crayon, which he can still use. And there are other cartoon brats that get mad and sometimes do bad things, like the time where Bing Bunny stole a lollipop, but we're not here to name every bad thing a brat has done. There's even a time where Bing once breaks his friend's brother's glasses on the slide. Comment down below if you want me to review that episode. It's called Nikki.
Listen here, young lady.
No, you listen here! How would you like to have nasty things said about you? How would you like to be told that you're fat and ugly?
That's enough.
And you probably don't even have a spark of imagination in you!
Wow, just reviewing this I couldn't name every single insult that she's done. I mean, the job of Brat Analyzer is to mention about the insults, to see how bad the brat is in general. But seriously, calling Mrs. Lynde an old windbag and telling her that she's fat and clumsy and doesn't have any imagination at all. Yeah, Mrs. Lynde did bully her first, but at least she wasn't trying to be rude. However, she didn't deserve that insult by Anne, because no one deserves to get bullied in this universe. Well, maybe except Anne, and you'll see later on. Finally, this little vixen gets what she deserves. Get it? Because that's what Mrs. Lynde called her. And then says that they can put her in a dark dungeon. But that's later. Anne of Green Gables then says that she would like to be called Cordelia. And then Mrs. Lynde says that after bullying an old lady she doesn't deserve to be. Good for you, Mrs. Lynde. And then she claims that she would like to be called Anne with an E, because A-N-N looks horrible, and A-N-N-E looks more distinguished. But after she bullied an old lady, I don't think Anne deserves her name with an E. Only later when she matures and learns to stop being a spoiled brat, although I think Anne with an E is pretty nice. A-N-N is a good, plain, sensible name, but A-N-N-E is a beautiful name.
But if you must call me Anne, please spell it with an E. Anne with an E looks much more distinguished on a letterhead.
You won't be writing any letters from here, Anne Shirley. I've no intention of keeping a child who's never been taught what's right.
No, it's because Anne was an orphan, and that's why she acts the way she does. And sure, Mrs. Lynde was pretty rude. But then again, Mrs. Lynde wasn't even rude. I don't like it when people call her a brat. And I'm not putting Mrs. Lynde on my brat tier list, for goodness sake. And, my goodness, Anne of Green Gables needs to calm down. She then complains that they can put her in a dark dungeon. Here's a clip. And feed her bread and water. Put her in a dungeon with snakes. But she could never, ever forgive Mrs. Lynde.
And toads. And you can feed me on bread and water and I won't complain, but I could never forgive Mrs. Lynde.
What's a brat? She then gets grounded. Finally, while she says that they can send her back, Anne of Green Gables, just calm down and stop acting like Daniel Tiger. She then snitches on Mrs. Lynde to the squirrel. Anne's probably going to get stitches because snitches get stitches.
That woman called me ugly and made fun of my hair.
You cause all your own problems, you know that?
She's a real interesting little thing. She'd be company for you.
You know what? The squirrel is now my favourite character in the show. I think the squirrel deserves better. Anne said they need a boy by talking bad about herself by saying that she's useless. Then a day passes, or 4 years, because Matthew says she's been in her room for 4 years while going to check up and see her.
Come in.
Ain't been upstairs in this house in 4 years.
What do you mean 4 years? You mean Anne turned 11 in this house? No, she's still 11. I think Matthew is just exaggerating. But Anne talks bad about herself by saying that she would rather the worst thing, instead of apologizing to Mrs. Lynde, who she claims is a bully. Don't try to accuse Mrs. Lynde of being a bully, Anne. Gosh, I don't like it when people do that in this universe.
But I'd rather die than apologize to that horrible bully.
Well, now, Marilla's a...
Anne calls her a bully like she should not. And then, instead of punishing Anne for cursing herself, Matthew lets her off the hook, punishment-free. She goes to give Mrs. Lynde a half-hearted apology, which should be compared to Norman's. You see, whenever Norman Price apologizes for his crimes, he doesn't mean it by saying, "I'm sorry, Fireman Sam, but it was an accident. I didn't mean to." However, when Anne apologizes, she means it.
Be so cruel as to inflict a lifelong sorrow on a poor orphan, would you? Can't imagine the treatment I've endured. Yelling and beating all the time for things I didn't even do. I know I talk too much, but
That's the biggest apology I've ever heard. After Anne's confession to bullying Mrs. Lynde, the two walk home. Anne claims that she would really like a bosom friend, but let's see if she will get one after the way she treats people. Anne is told that she cannot bully anyone again, but then Anne of Green Gables sees the squirrel and then keeps saying about her bosom friend, while Marilla tells her she's strange, because Anne is basically Mr. Chatterbox and Little Miss Chatterbox in this universe. Thunder and lightning is coming while the squirrel jumps into the bag. What is wrong with you, Anne? You make your squirrel friend, or your so-called friend, sick? Seriously, Anne, stop being cruel to animals and don't make that squirrel puke. This is honestly just as bad as Norman Price trying to hit the whale using the boat or Thomas Daly torturing his hamster. This is basically the same thing. Learn to care for squirrels, Anne. She keeps singing her theme song, while she almost tries to knock her squirrel friend, or so-called squirrel friend, out. Why are you still being cruel to animals, Anne? Learn to be nice to animals. It's like Anne wants to disrespect a squirrel. Does Anne want a squirrel gone or something?
I'm a good worker in spite of my talking. I've learned to belong here for all of my life. Don't send me away without saying what I see. Everything I touch is full of delight. I'll do my best to not let you down. I can imagine a world full of joy. Just give me your hand and I'll teach you to hope. You'll find that I'm something worthwhile.
This is the theme song of the show, by the way. Anne also begs Matthew and Marilla if she can stay at Green Gables, because she'd really love to stay at Green Gables. After her little dreaming song fetish, she falls out of her chair because Marilla wakes her up from her dreaming. Dreamer Anne is told that she cannot be bad again, because if she bullies Mrs. Lynde, then she'll have to get sent back to Ground Orphanage. And I don't even want to see another scene of that orphanage. Marilla won't have Matthew interfering with Anne's methods, whatever that means. Well, we can see Anne of Green Gables goes back upstairs. She has to say her prayers. While washing the dishes, this girl tries to do her best, because if she does her worst, she'll get sent to not the right place for her. Or is it not the right place for her? Later that night, the squirrel tells Anne to say her prayers, but the blasphemous brat says this.
God made my hair red on purpose, and I've never cared for him since.
What do you mean you never cared for him since? You're so disrespectful, rude, and seriously, why can't you just be respectful? By the way, I believe in God, so I'm allowed to say that. She doesn't even get punished. Like, it never happened. They act like she was not a spoiled brat. She then prays to God that she'll stay at Green Gables. But whatever goodness happens, goodness comes. I'm Christian, so I'm allowed to say that. The next morning, it's a whole new day, and Anne gets told no bullying someone at school. I'm sure that will sit well. Marilla is happy that Anne has learned her lesson while she walks down the road. I don't think she'll learn a lesson because, you know what, later on, she will probably get away with it. She then skips along the road. The squirrel about to get sick. And by the way, this girl tried to drown the squirrel in a soup later on in this movie. And I'll get to that part soon. She then sees her new bosom friend, aka Diana Barry, iconic, black-haired girl who at least didn't get cordial in this special or wine. Anne accuses Mrs. Lynde of calling her a gypsy. See? Anne hasn't learned her lesson. But Diana tells Anne that she's not a gypsy. No, red hair actually makes Anne look like her character. It's not ugly, and wait a minute, we got a guest. Cartoon Ruler was joining in. Okay, come on, man. Keep in mind, any swearing, I'm gonna cut out.
Right, thanks for having me here, bro. So let's cut to the chase then. And then enters the school by this teacher with hair that looked like he grew in an allotment. Please tell me that looks like an onion. That's when Anne starts getting teased. Although her school being a literal arson. Theft. That's when Mr. Brilliant decides to bully Anne and call her a carrot. Good, that's what she gets. Bro's backpack is full of W's and not a single L. The ugly carrot then loses her and starts banging, and then just starts destroying his brilliant head, and surprisingly doesn't get knocked out. Whoever survives this, you are pro.
I agree. I'm surprised Gilbert didn't even get brain damage from that. Honestly, the head is where your brain is, so that's what makes it even worse. Carry on.
No noob, just pro. Mrs. Onion has lost the ability and decides to confront.
My fault, Miss King. I was teasing her.
Come on, it's not your fault. You gave this girl what she should have gotten since the day she was born.
Nothing.
That's all you're gonna say. Nearly killed a student, and that's all you got to say. And gets called to the front of the desk, where she has to write on the chalkboard. And then she gets whooped. Okay, finally! This movie is full of violence, you know that. And gabbing about brats, thanks for having me here. Let me know if you want to get down with another collab. Thank you.
You're welcome, and well said.
Now back to you.
Okay, we gotta compare the scene to one of the most aggressive, violent brats. This is gotta be two of the most violent brats I've ever talked about. Norman Price and Thomas Daly. When Anne bashed her slate on Gilbert's head, Gilbert could have gotten brain damage. But Thomas Daly and Norman Price, well, they are just worse. So, Anne's not ready to be the worst brand card in history. Well, yet. We'll see what happens. Everyone makes Anne feel like a complete laughingstock, while Anna Green Gables gets her just deserves by having to get humiliated by her hair. Even though her hair isn't ugly, it just suits her well. Then, we see the hair tonic. Anna Green Gables wants to dye her hair raven black. But Anne, that colour hair doesn't really suit you. I think red makes her look like her character. Later, she dyes her hair, and you know what? Well, guess what? Her hair becomes, well, I'll get the drum roll. Her hair becomes green. Yes, she dyed her hair green. One of the biggest mistakes she ever has gets revealed to the world as everyone is shocked that she has green hair. Now she looks like a Subway Surfer skin. And putting something over her head so no one can see what's going on. Now, this is the part where Anne's antics of bullying her squirrel get even worse. Well, see for yourselves.
Bailey! Oh dear, Bailey!
Are you trying to drown me?
Look what you've done!
I only wanted a taste, not a bath.
Wait, Anne. So you try to drown the squirrel in the pot? Is the squirrel called Billy or whatever his name is? I'm just going to call him the squirrel. So the thing is that this is the part I said was coming up before my collab with Britain's Youngest Comedian. It was all about Anna Green Gables trying to drown her squirrel into the soup. But in the Little Fox version, she drowned a mouse into the soup, which is even worse. But seriously, Anne, why can't you just learn to be kind to animals? Well, if you haven't kidnapped that squirrel, maybe you could have been more kind to animals. She's like Norman Price, who kidnapped a penguin, took it home, tried to give it sausages even though they eat fish, tried to take it to the swimming pool, ended up trapping it in a box until it's almost set the box on fire. She blames the squirrel for trying to do it by himself, while the bratty brat suddenly decides that no one can eat dessert the squirrel's been swimming in. Later, the tip of her green hair gets revealed, and then she begs Mrs. Lynde not to punish her. Marilla, sorry. Marilla then tells Anna Green Gables that she won't get punished. But Anna Green Gables is later at dinner while everyone is shocked that she got green hair. They're not really shocked. I don't know what they expect. But if I were Mrs. Onion Head who grew an allotment, I would think that Anna Green Gables... Well, I thought she had red hair and now she had green hair. How could that happen so fast? But Anne also hates green hair. In my opinion, red, green, blue are actually my favourite colours. But of course you have to add yellow in there. But we're not here to talk about my favourite colours. I actually got more favourite colours. We're here to talk about Anna Green Gables. But I do like red, orange and blue. And more. But we're here to actually talk about Anna Green Gables. So, Anna Green Gables is humiliated by her green hair. She tells everyone not to eat the soup, but they tell her to shut up while they throw the spoon at the kettle, which causes a disaster everywhere.
To tell you, oh, Miss Cuthbert, all day my hair has conspired to send me back to Grout Orphanage.
Well, no point ignoring it, Marilla.
Anne always exaggerates. This is just exaggeration at its absolute finest. She's humiliated while everyone is laughing at her hair. She then thinks that they're being rude and yells at them that it's not funny. Wait until they punish her for cracking a slate on Gilbert's head. Anne's hair is red again, like her hair rightfully should be, because red hair suits Anne perfectly. Marilla then tries to dye her hair back to red or wash the hair dye off her, or wash the green hair off her, while Anna Green Gables' hair is back to being red. And she's somehow happy that her hair is red again. The squirrel was free from Anne's shenanigans. Finally, she admits to cracking her slate on Gilbert's head. No, why are you not punishing her, you pushover people? Anne seriously needs to be punished. Like, why are they letting her get away with almost giving a student brain damage? That's just pushover behavior.
Gilbert Bly's head today.
Hard.
Very hard, I'm afraid.
Marilla walloped Gilbert's father plenty of times when she was a girl.
Then why don't you punish her? Send her to a room. I thought I had faith in these parents, but they're not even parents. I'm sorry, they are just people who adopted Anna Green Gables. But they're parentish figures. I'm sorry for calling them parents. They're just parentish figures. So let me repeat. Why are these pushover elderly couple adopted Anne and then let her get away with cracking a slate on Gilbert's head? That's just dumb. Why not they just send her to a room instead? These pushover people can't even handle Anne getting sent to a room. Giving your friend brain damage is worse than trying to bully an old lady. Nothing makes any, and I mean any, sense. Here is what doesn't make sense. Anne getting away with cracking her slate on Gilbert's head. And guess what? Yep, you guessed it. She gets rewarded with getting dressed up to go to the Harvest Ball. Because in this universe, why not let someone get away with something? And then whines that she doesn't look pretty in the dress that she's wearing to the Harvest Ball. Because apparently Anne doesn't like anything, whether it be her hair, getting teased, or her dress. Anne always whines about everything, but she can have her own opinion.
Can't I go to the ball? Diana's asked me to sleep over and be her guest of honor.
It's an honor you can't just forego.
Okay, I don't know if I should blame Anne for whining or if I don't blame Anne for whining. But honestly, then again, both at the same time. We do blame Anne because she cracked her slate on Gilbert's head and doesn't deserve to. But then again, Diana is going there and she's Anne's best friend. Or I'm not going to say bosom friend because I don't want to talk like Anna Green Gables and just talk normally and not how they talk and not how they say best friend in the old days. But then again, let's just carry on. And that's all sad when Marilla tells her that she must go outside and finish her chores. While they say that they agreed on raising her so she can stop being a brat and must discipline her. You mean you were gonna ground her and then chose not to? Oh my gosh. Make up your mind, Marilla. Just not be such a pushover, Marilla. Later, Matthew decides to go into the dress shop where he tries to give Anne some puff-sleeve dresses because Anne doesn't have any and she's jealous that everyone else has them. Wait, wrong version. You see, this is what happened in the Little Fox version. Then we see that he asks a woman at the dress shop for some puff-sleeve dress. She gives him a watering can instead, and lies and says he needed a dress. Like, what type of man wears a dress? This kid. Anne is given a pup sleeve dress, and you know what? I don't really like it, but then again, it feels a bit too messy. Anne is dancing around and having the thrill of her lifetime while she runs out the door and almost sneaks out the house in the process. Meanwhile, Matthew is throwing stuff. Bundles of hay up onto the shelf, or whatever that thing is called. This is when that Anne comes showing off her new dress to Matthew, while the squirrel stupidly bites his tail. Maybe it's because he doesn't like Anne and is so mad that he feels like biting his tail. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse of Madame Poubelle. Oh no, she's back!
What? Red hair indicating possibly strong bloodline in the LaRue family. Where is she? You have to know.
I really can't remember where the Dickens.
What do you mean you don't remember? You've turned this into a search for a needle in a haystack.
She also gets mad at the squirrels, while after pushing Mavis. No, not Mavis the diesel engine, wrong character.
Underneath your derriere.
Nothing at all. It's just.
Cuthbert. You sent her to the Cuthbert.
Madame Poubelle, you know what? Don't try to kidnap Anne, you big baby! Now Madame Poubelle was even more worse than ever as she tries to kidnap Anne, because I guess she really hates Anne so much. You know, I don't like Anne of Green Gables' bratty behaviour in general, but this woman is taking it to the extent of hating her. I don't hate Anne, except she doesn't deserve this. We now have to force two men to go tracking down a little orphan girl named Anne. Keep in mind, these were those guys who tried to roughly take Anne back to bed and chase a squirrel. They all plan on trying to kidnap Anne, like they shouldn't do because Anne of Green Gables is a brat but doesn't deserve it. Because nobody deserves to be kidnapped. Point made. Instead of being dropouts and just quitting the act of trying to help Madame Poubelle kidnap Anne, the two men decide to agree on her, while the woman decides to force them to dress up as girls. Which honestly, I don't like that idea. Kidnapping Anne is aggressive and rough. Honestly, that is bad, even though Anne can do some bad stuff. Now, not Marilla, they repeat. Now Madame Poubelle throws a dress at the man so he can dress up in it, while the other man has to dress up as a gentleman. They both have to dress up as ladies and gentlemen while they lie and say that Anne of Green Gables is related to them. The man in the dress says that Anne of Green Gables is her niece. Don't fall for such an obvious lie, train station guy. I don't know his name. So they phone Mrs. Lynde and say that you won't believe what's happening in Green Gables. It's just because these two people are making them fall for the fact that they are related to Anne of Green Gables. They climb aboard the buggy while Anne of Green Gables yells at them and asks who they are. And this time for once, well, I know lots of people who hate Anne will be mad at me when I say I actually agree on her. Because these two people are bad and they try to kidnap her.
Come now. You'll learn to love us. Just like my dear Winifred, little carrot top.
How dare you!
Ha ha ha, Anne, that's what you get. Calling someone a carrot is what you should do to Anne. Anne of Green Gables, don't be blown up into a full Daniel Tiger tantrum fit. How dare you call me carrots? That's it. But that's the colour of your hair, Anne. Well, it doesn't matter. Anne then runs over crying.
Fiery as the rest of my dear wife's family.
Classic crying Anne of Green Gables sound effect. The Anne of Green Gables crying sound effect should honestly just be on a sound effect channel. She exaggerates and forces everyone to believe her the wild horses couldn't drag her away from the two. But she rightfully refuses to believe that that woman is her aunt. I actually agree on Anne again this time. Maybe Anne is starting to get some good qualities after all. Good job, Anne. Anne acts like a brat by slamming the door right in their face. Anne plans on sneaking out the house to go to the harvest ball, and oh no, Anne, why are you trying to sneak out the house? That's just something only a brat in cartoons would do. Stop it, Anne, you bratty girl who does the wrong things. Anne then steals the amethyst brooch and then hides it away. Uh-oh, Anne, you better confess for this. But then instantly leaves it for those two crooks to steal.
This is too tempting, and to be this smooth.
Keep keep in mind, it's Anne's fault because she was the one who decided to be irresponsible by leaving the brooch there. Wow, how irresponsible Anne of Green Gables is. Later, Madame Poubelle was getting mad that the two men aren't there and kidnapped Anne. Well, honestly, Madame Poubelle, no one's going to kidnap Anne. Madame Poubelle, stop being so evil and learn. Or maybe Madame Poubelle must go to jail. So she decides to start an airship that can kidnap Anne that runs on fuel. This balloon airship thing is where Madame Poubelle was riding on while it cracks the wall of the orphanage. Wow, Madame Poubelle was destructive and could even beat Norman in a bratness race. Back at Green Gables, Marilla is looking at the amethyst brooch and then realizes that it's gone missing. Anne of Green Gables has to get kicked out of Green Gables because they too said that she must get sent back to the orphanage, which is one of the most tragic scenes I've ever seen in this movie. Imagine being an Anne at the moment, having to get kicked out of the place you want to be. She forces Anne to confess.
Just to see what it would look like.
You had no business meddling.
I put it right back on the pincushion in that very box. Honest.
Wow, Marilla's discipline is starting to get good over here. Anne is at fault because she was irresponsible. Marilla claims that Anne was the last to handle the brooch because it's gone, and she guesses that Anne could have stolen it. While the two men stole it, and some of you might be thinking I'm blaming Anne, it's really her fault as she left it there for the men to steal and was irresponsible. Later, we then see that Matthew and Marilla are having tea. Anne of Green Gables is grounded again. Good, because she rightfully deserves it. Wait a minute, so you're telling me that these people let her get away with cracking her slate on Gilbert's head, and then they're bipolar by trying to ground her again? 1 minute they're grounding her, the next minute they're letting her get away with something, 1 minute they're grounding her, and then what's going to happen next? They're going to kick her out of Green Gables? She sneaks out of the house like a spoiled brat while no one is looking. Anne of Green Gables, how dare you sneak out of the house? You're basically earning a spot on the brat tier list for that, Anne. She meets Gilbert at the Harvest Ball while they forgive each other, and oh my goodness, at least they're good friends now. So you're telling me that Anne of Green... Oh my gosh! You're telling me that Anne of Green Gables cracked her slate on Gilbert's head hard for nothing? And now she's been bipolar. 1 minute she's hurting Gilbert and almost giving him brain damage, and in the next minute she's greeting Gilbert politely. This movie is full of bipolarness, by the way. They pull on the rope while we can see that they almost tried to destroy the cannon in the process. Later, we see Diana, Felicity, and her brother, Felix. Felicity is a girl who started off in that school entrance. I didn't have time to explain who she is because the cartoon ruler already reviewed the scene. I'm not accusing him of interrupting me. In fact, I'm proud that he collabed with me. Shout out to him. She then says that she needs her beauty sleep to go to the Harvest Ball, while Diana Barry sticks her tongue out at her. Wait a minute. Does Felicity deserve it? Or then again, is sticking your tongue out at someone rude? Let me know in the comments below. Later, they all sneakily go into the house. Which house? Well, I don't know what it's called, but they go into some house. Later, they see the two men are actually men. Wait a minute. So it was revealed all along. They see them sleeping, and then they bump into each other while they get caught. The two luckily throw things at them as they rightfully should. And honestly, while it does seem bratty at first, we can see that they are going to try and defeat the villains, which is honestly the only good thing, well, one of the only good things that's happened in the movie.
Not so fast, kid. You little pipsqueak. Where's the girl?
Why are you insulting him by calling him a pipsqueak? That's just downright wrong.
Oh, where's Felix?
Why, there she is. Huh?
Felix!
What is this? I throw you out right now from the...
I'm sorry, but who the heck is that woman? She could even be more uglier than Thomas Daly and Norman Price in the CGI test pilot combined. She looks like Mrs. Wicked if she turned into a fish. And honestly, this doesn't look too fishy, but this looks like the face was turned into a fish face on Mrs. Wicked. The two men get scolded for their bratty big baby behavior. In other words, you could call an adult brat a big baby. Anyways, that's what you can call a child brat who's not a baby. The big baby Anna Green Gables runs because they're scared of the bullies. Just like how Norman's friends are, they're not even scared about Norman. He's just lying. Later, we see that Felicity and her parents are there, while we see that Felix says that it's all Anna Green Gables' fault, and then yells at Felicity.
In Avonlea? Well, my Diana certainly isn't capable of such antics. Mr. King, those boys should be tarred and feathered. Diana is as guilty as the others. I can remember some midnight ramblings when you were a girl. Oh, so it's my fault, is it? Well, Marilla, Anne Shirley is a conniving, manipulative child.
Thank you for saying that. This is like calling Anna Green Gables a sloppy brat all over again. Saying that she's a conniving, manipulative child is saying to Norman Price, you're an arsonist. You need to stop acting like a brat. Or saying to Caillou, Snipe Snap is going to expose you. Or saying to Thomas Daly, you need to stop trying to be violent to your sister. Otherwise, gabbing about brats and Anthony BFDI fan will start hating on you. And honestly, I don't blame Brat and Eliza for hating on Thomas. They argue about who's responsible for the child, and then they accuse Diana of having such weapons. But then again, Diana didn't own the weapon, but if she did, she would actually be a brat. And that is saying something about Anna Green Gables when we think of her reputation. Later, Marilla, being a big baby, acts like a snitch. Childish Marilla then tells Anna Green Gables and snitches on her to Mrs. Barry and calls her a pig and yells all sorts of mean insults about her.
Having a midnight adventure is far less sinful than meddling in other people's affairs. That woman is the most pig-headed, unreasonable excuse for a self-important neighbor I ever knew.
Oh, Miss Cuthbert.
That brooch meant a great deal to me.
So you're gonna let Anna Green Gables get away with sneaking out the house punishment-free and let her off the hook? That's not how trying to be a parenting figure works. She then asks Anne to tell her the truth, but Anne lies and says that she was sitting at the lake and then accidentally dropping it. Anna Green Gables, you might be even more pathetic of a liar and probably must be in a competition with Norman Price, Royce Royce, Little Princess, and even Little Brown Bear.
In the sunlight, it slipped from my fingers and sank beneath the waves.
That's not the truth at all. Maybe you should just admit that you were irresponsible, Anne.
That's the best I can do at confessing. Now will you keep me?
You can pack your bags in the morning.
You said you'd stand your ground for me if I told the truth.
I don't know whatever possessed me.
Translation, Marilla, you self-centered jerk. I thought I could stay at Green Gables. The two walk home while we can see that Anna Green Gables is getting away from Green Gables. I don't know why, but it's either because of that brooch or... Wait a minute. You mean I won't know why she's getting sent away from Green Gables? She then says that this is the darkest day of her entire life while they are riding for a parade. Just then, they see these villains while Madame Poubelle attempts that they must catch Anne. One of the rough men, while dragging Felicity's brother, are acting bratty. Let me rephrase that. While dragging Felicity's brother, Felix, the man decides to drag him roughly. When Felicity tells him to put him down, which is the only good thing she's done in this movie, Felicity gets put down on the ground. Later, Anne climbs aboard the train and is sad she's getting sent to Grab Orphanage. Wait a minute. Is it still not the right place for her? Comment down below. Later, we see Anne of Green Gables getting sad, and then we see the two men getting revealed as women, and then we see that Madame Poobah is coming along, while we can see that Anne gets thrown onto the airship, and then Madame Poobah was acting like a brat, and it reveals that she stole the amethyst brooch, and now Marilla feels stupid for sending Anne of Green Gables away from Green Gables. Yeah, Marilla, it wasn't really her fault, but then again it was her fault because Anne was irresponsible, but why can't you just, at least give her a timeout?
Constable and fast. I made a horrible mistake, nephew. Whatever that woman's up to, it can't be good.
Time for our little family reunion, Miss LaRue.
Give me back that brooch.
You thought Lucille LaRue was tough, were you?
Anne is not called Anne LaRue. She is supposed to be called Anne of Green Gables, Anne Shirley. She then almost tries to grab Anne and tries to choke her, almost in the process, while Anne of Green Gables is told that she's going to have a special dungeon while Madame Poobah scares her. She gets thrown on the floor while Madame Poobah is forcing the airship to come on. Later, Matthew is dragging the horse and the cart while he's pulling the rope so the ship can stop. And then we see that Madame Poobah's ship is so aggressive that it ends up trying to drag Matthew and torture his poor horse. So it seems like the squirrel isn't the only victim of getting tortured as an animal in this universe. Also the horse. But you know how villainous you have to be to try to torture a horse and lift it up in the sky? Later, the group come along and Anne of Green Gables is in the airship. Later, she gets tied up while Madame Poobah tries to fix the thing. Why would you want to fix something like that? Later, the squirrel has an amazing plan and unties Anne from the rope. Good for you, squirrel. The squirrel honestly deserved better, and I hope Anne learns not to torture it. But no one's called her out for that, so I think she will never actually learn. Later, Madame Poobah then throws a tantrum like a big baby. Finally, Gilbert the superhero is here to save the day and take Madame Poobah the bad guy away. Or wait a minute, is it the squirrel who's doing the job? Wait a minute, Gilbert is acting like a hero? Well, the squirrel will make a better hero. He then climbs down the rope that Anne gives her while the squirrel is on the rope, and then Gilbert tries to grab the rope, but then almost tortures the squirrel in the process. I hope Gilbert doesn't become a brat. He then almost falls off the sea while dragging onto the rope. Felicity and all the others come to the rescue while Matthew pulls the horse, and then everyone tries to rescue each other. But then Madame Poobah is still being rude to Anne as Anne of Green Gables' amethyst brooch then falls into the sea, and then she starts aggressively fighting with Anne while the squirrel then attacks her and then gets some pin and then decides to pop the balloon. Good for you, squirrel.
I wasn't expected. Touché! Huh? What? Hurry up! What the?
Evil laugh much?
Give me back that brooch.
No, it belongs to Marilla.
You're using a dangerous sword around a red-haired 11-year-old orphan girl. Stop it, Madame Poobah. Stop it. This is beyond big baby and adult brattiness. This tops Henry's mom, Henry's dad, and every other cartoon bratty adult. She admits that she lied about being a LaRue while she jumps before Madame Poobah can hurt her with the sword. The squirrel now gets the sword while Anne of Green Gables is on the airship while the squirrel, being a hero, makes a heroic move. I'm here to save the day. Anne and the squirrel come to save the day while Madame Poobah's ship is starting to is starting to get broken while Madame Poobah starts yelling at Anne for being a hero. Stop being pathetic, Madame Poobah. Haven't you learned anything? And maybe Madame Poobah should go to jail at the end of this, or maybe just get fired as an orphanage runner. Maybe Ground Orphanage needs a cleanup and must look like a better place. The squirrel then bites onto the rope while the woman then disappears into thin air. Squirrel torturing much? It seems like Anne isn't the only one who does it, but Madame Poubelle doesn't take rules seriously as she tries to hurt the squirrel and choke it. Hashtag justice for the squirrel if you think this squirrel deserves better. Well, at least she's gone. Anne cries as the squirrel is drowning. The squirrel then comes to Anne while Anne of Green Gables treats it like a pet. Everyone cheers for Anne because she's now the town's hero. And this is what they were probably cheering for her. They were probably clapping for her. While Mrs. Lynde thinks that maybe a brat can't be a hero. After all, Thomas Daly, Caillou, Norman Price, Little Princess, Whispered Voice, and all the other terrible brats like Tilly Pink and Noby can't be spoiled brats without being heroes. The other way round.
Punished. I heard a whole train full of orphans is being unleashed by the woman's secretary. When I saw that brooch, whatever made you say you took it and lost it?
Wait a minute, so Ground Orphanage is becoming a better place? Good! Why can't Ground Orphanage either get knocked down or get a rebuilt? Anne confesses, while Marilla thinks that that's a good thing she did. Later, everything is hunky-dory, and Anne says that she may stay at Green Gables. What Anne's been begging and pleading for at the very start to the end of the movie.
Well, I'll forgive you.
Mr. Cuthbert said I'd find you.
All is hunky-dory. Gilbert gives the brooch back to Anne. The movie ends off in a good scene. Anne at Green Gables gets the brooch back. The end. Considering it's a horrible movie, there's a terrible ending. I mean, there's a good ending in a horrible movie. How does this work? Well, because everyone loves a happy ending, does it? Unlike how it ends off in the Nemo movie with Nemo getting swallowed by the fish.
You'll probably have enough friends here in Avonlea. Come on, I'll walk you home.
Mr. Cuthbert! Oh, Mr. Cuthbert! I do so want to stay here forever.
You were right, Anne. I guess Avonlea is a place where dreams come true.
So, this is what Anne has been begging for, and let's hope she won't be a brat again. Well, at least that squirrel's free again. The movie ends off with a scene of all backgrounds from Green Gables. She continues to stay at Green Gables after a whole animated series. She matures a bit after the animated series, but then acts like a brat on her first day at Green Gables forever. That same song that she sang in the movie where she almost tries to knock her squirrel friend out and got her so-called squirrel friend sick becomes her theme song.
Once upon an orphanage, my life was a mere tragic state. I longed to find a brighter place, somewhere full of love and grace. I dream of fields with a cool ocean breeze and a home for my own family. When I got my wish, I pinched myself to make sure this home was real. Now and again, my kings and queens long heavily haired, and maybe they feel I was worth it for them. I'm a good worker in spite of my talking I've longed to.
Gilbert teases her in the episode, and then she gets mad and loses her shenanigans. Well, gabbing about brats, after reviewing that whole entire movie, you must think Anne is the worst brat in cartoon history. Well, I actually don't think she is. While she does have moments where she acts selfish and pretty rude and narcissistic, she's not as bad as other brats when we compare her to Norman Price and Thomas Daly. Even though this carrot-haired brat can act out sometimes, she's not as bad as other brats like Norman Price. But she's definitely worse than Little Brown Bear, Caillou, Little Princess, and maybe even Cussly. She's not as bad as Norman Price, Thomas Daly, Caillou, or even Jeremy Creek, but let's be real. She has lots of bratty moments. She acts out, she misses Lynde, she cracks a sleigh on Gilbert's head, she tortures a squirrel. She does more bad things, she acts out, she lies all the time, she's dramatic, she's a drama queen, she can't handle getting forced to do some things that she doesn't want to do, she's even worse than Horrid Henry, probably. She acts out and acts like she's just as bad as Horrid Henry. It's a tie when it comes to her own voice, but always she says the meanest insults. And let's be real, that one time where she didn't get punished, it's not unforgivable considering that she got punished twice. Marilla and Matthew are okay characters, although they're not the best, as they let her get away with cracking her stare onto Gilbert's head and don't even ground her. This is the first fairy tale brat to ever be roasted, and I hope this video gets super trendy. I might do more Anna Green Gables things in the future, but what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments if you think Anna Green Gables is the worst brat. Oh, gabbing about brats, why can't you just do your recap of the recap where you recap the episode? How does that make any sense? Sure, let's summarize. Anna Green Gables spent the movie being a spoiled brat all day to everyone. She tried to destroy Mrs. Hammond's house and then got kicked out and called a sloppy brat and returned rightfully. She got sent to Grout Orphanage, where she got sent by an elderly couple to Green Gables when they expected for a boy instead. Her antics of brattiness got the better of her as she decided to bully Mrs. Lynde by calling her an old windbag and telling her she's fat and hates her. Just then, Anna Green Gables got grounded rightfully. In the end, she ended up getting what she rightfully deserved and refused to apologize and refused to calm down and threw a massive tantrum until she apologized. She almost tortured her squirrel friend multiple times and a few times tried to bully Gilbert Blythe by cracking her slate onto his head, getting mad and acting like Daniel Tiger. She said that she never cared for God's sins, which in the Christian world can be considered as brattiness. Whoever's not a Christian can believe it's not brattiness. But whatever, you gotta respect other people's religions. She ended up acting like a spoiled brat all movie, as not only did she sneak out the house, but leave her brooch there for 2 men to steal. But she wasn't the only spoiled brat in this special, as also Madame Poubelle can count, as she almost tried to run an orphanage where kids become servants and almost didn't care for everyone around her. She tried to kidnap Anne multiple times, bullied people, acted like a big baby, and an evil woman. She acted like a villain or one of the witches you would get from fairy tales, and Madame Poubelle spent the thing being a witch. But she wasn't the only idiot in this movie, as we can also take the blame on Felicity King for being a big fat brag all movie. She was bragging that she needed her beauty sleep and acted like a spoiled brat when Diana stuck her tongue out at her. We can also blame these two unnamed men, for trying to kidnap Anne as well. And lastly, we can also blame Gilbert, and while he wasn't really a brat, he was the one who drove Anna Green Gables into this full-on fit, and is the reason why she acts the way she does. But the reason why she acts the way she does is because, honestly, she is an orphan, so that's probably why she acts the way she does. Her parents died before she was even born, so that's why she's never been taught the consequences of life. If her parents were still alive, then she would have been taught the consequences of her actions by shouting at old ladies and trying to bully friends and crack slates on their heads. Now, the first orphan brat to ever be roasted, because Tom Sawyer hasn't been roasted, well, I don't know if I'm going to do Tom Sawyer one day, is one of the worst red-headed brats in cartoon history. She tops Little Princess, but doesn't top Norman Price. After all, Norman is an arsonist and continues to do bratty behavior. Anna Green Gables isn't as bad as other brats like Norman Price, KU, and Thomas Daly, but of course, she sure has her moments. So, as I always say in these videos, with the tagline, Madame Poubelle can stuff it for trying to kidnap Anne and take her to that orphanage. These two men can stuff it for trying to help Madame Poubelle kidnap Anne. Gilbert Blythe can stuff it, even though he wasn't really that bad, so we take the stuff it away, because she was giving Anne a taste of her own medicine. And of course, for acting like a spoiled, narcissistic, untrustworthy, bratty, jerk, movie, of course, Anne without an E is what this girl deserves. What a journey that was. But thank you for 682 subscribers again. I know I'm late on this, but I just want to congratulate you for 600 subscribers. Congratulate you for subscribing to my channel. It really helps a lot, considering that you are my true subscribers and like my channel. And let's see if I can get 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. My goal is to reach the big 10,000. I also want to give a shout out to my man Britain's youngest comedian for collabing in this video and talking about the time where Anne banged her stare on Gilbert's head. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you want to collab with me in another video next. And also comment down below if you think Anne is the worst brat. And also comment down below if you think that Anne is worse than Norman. And not to mention, comment down below what I should review for my 700 subscriber special. Also, please make sure to subscribe and like the video because it really helps the channel out a lot. You can also join my community that I've got on my channel. So, that's it for today's video. So, there you rephrase that. That's gonna do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye. Until next time, it's gabbing about brats, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out. Peace out, Scout.